Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video and welcome to my creative journaling spot. I don't appear on camera very often and that's because I'm really still not comfortable being on camera after all this time, but one of the goals I've set myself this year is to boost my confidence and appear on screens more often. I do it for my online classes, but it takes quite a lot for me to be able to get myself to that point. So I'm hoping that if I pop up on the YouTube videos a bit more regularly, that's going to really help me out. Also, I love seeing the faces of other creators that I follow on YouTube. So I really wanted to bring a bit of that to my channel this year. So I really hope that you're doing well. It's still tough times at the moment, but thank goodness that we've got our journaling and our creative supplies to help keep us occupied. In today's video, I'm going to share a fun little origami envelope tutorial. So I really hope that you find that fun and that you have a go and create it along with me. If you do have a go, I'd love you to share it with me over on Instagram under Journal with Purpose. And I'm also going to be working through one of the journaling prompts that I released on Patreon this month, which is all about showing kindness to ourselves. And I just think that's never been more important than right now, to make sure that we're looking after ourselves and offering ourselves a little bit of kindness as we continue to move through these difficult times. So I really hope you've got your journals and supplies ready, and I hope you enjoy the video. I thought I'd start this video by sharing a really quick and easy tutorial on how to make these adorable origami envelopes. I first saw how to do it inside the flow book for paper lovers, and I'm fairly sure I also saw Daisy, who goes under the name of My Green Cow here on YouTube, doing it for her Happy Mail Patreons as well. And once I learnt how to do it, well, I just couldn't stop. So I thought they're great for using inside your journals and also popping in some happy mail. So you want to start with some patterned paper and you need it to be a square. So I'm going to trim this piece down first of all. So I'm just going to fold that down here so that I've got the edges all lined up. It doesn't have to be too precise, so don't worry about that. And it's fine to have that fold there because you're going to need that in a moment anyway. So then you can just trim off the edges. I've also done some of these on some blank paper and decorated them myself with stamps and painting. So definitely feel free to get creative. And you want to make sure that the pattern is on the bottom when you start doing this. So if it's double-sided, make sure that you're going to have the side up, facing down that you're going to want to see. So if you already started with a piece of square paper, the first thing you need to do is take two corners over to meet each other, create a fold here, and I'm going to use a bone folding tool to make sure my edges are crisp, but you could use the edge of a ruler or just your finger will be absolutely fine. So now we want to take one of these two pieces of paper and fold this point down right so that it's level and touches the bottom there. And then just make that fold. So you can see that tip's coming down to the edge here. And the next thing to do is take this corner and you want to fold it to make sure that it goes past this point here. So I'm going to take mine a little way over to there. And again, just make your fold. And then you're going to do exactly the same with this side and try and make sure that it's level with your fold there. So it's going to check that looks about right. There we go, and then just make your fold. And now this is the only bit which is even slightly tricky. So we're going to start off by folding this back on itself, and you want that to be roughly in line with this centre point up here. So again, get that fold nice and crisp. And then what you want to do here, you've got a little pocket, and you might well want to put your fingers inside there, pull them apart, and then just fold that bit up there and make that nice and crisp. So I'll show that bit again. Once you've got that like folded over there, fold it back again so that line's up there is matching in line with the centre of your top point. Open them up with your fingers to create a little pocket, pull them apart, press that up, and you can now fold the top part of your envelope down. Just like that. Make your little crease, and then you can just pop that inside there. And if you want to, I tend to just dab a little bit of glue underneath here to keep it down, which depending on the weight of the paper you've used, it might already lie entirely flat, but just to keep that down. And then you've got a really lovely little origami envelope that you can use inside your journals. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing that, and I hope you have lots of fun doing them. I'm now going to move on to the journaling, of which I'll be including this pocket. For my journaling, I'm using, this is a paisley etched cover from Start Bay Notebooks, and I'm going to be using this dot grid A5 notebook from London Gifties. And it's got really thick paper in it, almost like cardstock, so it holds up to lots of mediums like ink and watercolour really well. And one of the things I've been doing this month is over on Patreon, we've been working through a series of prompts together over on Patreon and my Facebook group. So I'm actually going to tackle one of those prompts today, which is all about being kind to ourselves. And I think that's so important, especially at the moment with everything going on, just to think about how we can make sure we're offering ourselves lots of kindness. So I'll now get into the journaling video. I'm going to start off in what is now my traditional way of starting most journal spreads, by adding some strips of washi tape down the edge of my pages. And both of these washi tapes are from London Gifties. And I thought the colours of these tied in really nicely with the patterned paper I used for the origami envelope. I'm going to tear one of the strips in half right down the middle so that I've got those lovely rough edges. Now that I've kind of broken into those journal pages by breaking up some of the white space, I'm going to add the heading for my journal page. And for this, I'm using a Tombow fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib. And the prompt that I'm working on from my Patreon list for this journal page is, how kindly are you treating yourself? And that was something I really wanted to reflect on myself, particularly after the year that we've just had and the times we're still going through, is just taking a moment to check in with myself and make sure that I'm doing everything I can to treat both my body and my mind kindly. The next thing I'm going to do is add that origami pocket to my page, But I decided I wanted to add a really nice soft and vintage feel to my pages, so I'm going to glue down an old book page behind it. So I'm just going to tear those edges off, again to tie in with the rough edges of my washi tape. And once I've got that the right size, I'm going to use some Pritt Stick to glue it down. I really enjoy adding a background behind any kinds of pockets and tags I put in my journals, especially if it's a white or dotted journal like this, because it helps it make it feel like it belongs there somehow to me, rather than just being stuck in on its own. I also decided I wanted to add some extra decoration at this stage, so I'm using these beautiful transfer stickers, which again came from London Gifties. And I like using these so much because they've got that transparent backing. I'll still be able to see some of that really lovely book page through the stickers. The brand of these transfer stickers are Make Up Your Life, and I think they're also sometimes advertised as MU. And I thought it would look really nice if some of those leaves were actually popping out from behind the pocket. So I'm going to decorate before gluing the pocket onto my page. I find these transfer stickers so fun to use, and you use the little wooden stick to rub the print onto your page, and once it's transferred you just peel away the backing. And I used to use something like this all the time when I was a child. I hadn't realised that there were now kind of adult versions until Christine very kindly sent me some, and now I absolutely love using them in my journal. Now that I'm happy with how that decoration is looking, I'm going to use some more Pritt Stick to glue the envelope down on top. Once I've finished the pocket, I decided to use a piece of that same patterned paper, so the edge I cut off when I cut it down to a square. And on there I'm going to write down some of my patterns of behaviour that have been the opposite of being kind to myself. So I'm writing things down like only grabbing rushed unhealthy meals as I don't have time, telling myself I'm not good enough to follow my dreams, comparing myself to others, depriving myself of proper rest time, and being extremely critical of myself. And I'm really aware that I do some of these things, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they're things I really want to leave behind me. And I find there's something so good about tucking away negative things in an envelope and thinking, right, okay, that's me getting rid of those kinds of behaviours or thought patterns. So I'm just going to tuck that inside and then close the envelope. The next thing I'm going to do is add some stamping to the bottom of my left-hand page, and I'm going to use these beautiful floral stamps. And I think all of the stamps, stickers and washi tape and decoration that I'm using on these pages comes from London Gifties, as I'm really lucky Christine often sends me her new products to try out. And I should mention that if you place an order from her shop and use the code Helen when you check out, Christine will put a free roll of washi tape in with your order. I'll of course leave her shop linked down below. For the stamping, I'm going to use some black Stays-On ink. I'm going to add 3 of these lovely floral stamp designs along the bottom of my page. The next thing I'm going to do is one of my favourite ways to add colour to my journal pages, which is a fake watercolour. And I've done this a few times before and I think it's so fun if you want that watercolour effect but don't want to get your watercolours out or don't have them or perhaps are on the go. So I'm going to use 2 different blue shades of Tombow ABT brush pen. And I'm going to scribble with them onto this plastic packaging. And this should work well with any water-based ink pens that you have. So I'm going to get both of those colours on there. And then I'm going to use a watercolour paintbrush which has been dipped in a glass of water. And now all you need to do is use these in the exact same way as you would with watercolour paint. I'm using that wet paintbrush to mix some water in with the ink from the Tombow ABT brush pen. And I'm using that then to paint the flower. And whilst that light blue is still wet, I'm also going to mix a little bit of the darker blue ink with it. And this works so well. I think it's really pretty and is definitely one of my favourite things to do. You can definitely play around with the amount of water you use to either create a really light wash or just add a little water if you want something really pigmented. So I've used the darker blue ink first on that middle flower, and then I'm going to add a little of the lighter blue ink just on the outside of the petals and let that run in and mix the 2 colours together. Once I've finished that 3rd flower, I'm going to wipe away most of the lighter blue ink from the plastic packaging, just leaving a little there, and then I'm adding lots more water to the deep blue ink and letting it run slightly into that paler colour. And you want to get your ink quite wet for this. I'm then going to turn that packaging upside down and press it onto the top of my right hand page. And the ink will run a bit and drip in all sorts of places, but I absolutely love that because I think it just gives such a beautiful watercolour effect. So I'm now going to quickly turn that over, and you see I've got droplets, which I'm absolutely fine with. I'm then going to use my fingers to spread that ink around. And where I left some of the lighter blue on the packaging, it's got a really lovely variation to the shades on my page. And I then used a heat tool to dry off all of that wet ink. I'm now having a look through my tin of girl stickers. I'm just trying to get a quick feel for which one I most want to use on my page. And I thought that she would look really nice there, right on the edge. Next, I'm going to add a blue sticker that looks like a postage stamp to the top right hand corner of my page. And I'm also going to use a sticker from my Tim Holtz word book. And the little quote that I'm going to pick is "Throw kindness around like confetti." I really like his sticker book for mini quotes and things to add a bit of extra interest to my pages. And I really like that you've got the choice of the black and white quotes too. I sometimes find that if I'm short of ideas for a journal page, then looking through quotes either in this sticker book or online is a really great way to get some inspiration for things that I want to write about in my journal. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little more stamping to my page, and I've got these stamps which look like tickets. So again, I'm going to use some black Stays On ink and add one to each of the pages. And if I'm going to be doing quite a bit of writing, I really like to break some of that up either with stamps or stickers or washi tape. For me, it just makes the page look a little bit more interesting and inviting to write on. I'm now going to start writing my response to that first journal prompt, and for this I'm using a black Muji gel pen. And I'm reflecting on the fact that last year I don't think I was very kind to myself, certainly not as kind as I should have been when you take everything else into account that we were going through. And I think it was really important for me to take the time to recognise that so that I can make better decisions for myself this year. I'm now going to letter out what was the second part of this prompt, is what steps can I take? And if you are interested in accessing my journal prompts, you are of course very welcome to take a look at my Patreon page. I will leave a link for that in the description box down below. For my responses to this prompt, I'm writing down things like I need to say no to new work when I'm already overstretched. I need to start planning my healthy meals in advance and making sure that I take a proper lunch break. I also wanted to take up some new hobbies that are completely separate from the things that I currently do, so that I've got some nice wind down activities. And I started knitting a scarf this year, which if you follow my Instagram stories, you will have seen. And that's just been so wonderful for me as a way to switch off from everything else. I've also written down that I need to make sure I'm taking better care of both my mind and my body. And I've used my bullet journal to help put some plans in place for that. So things like favourite recipes, I'm doing dry January, which is drinking no alcohol throughout the month, and also a weight loss tracker. On my right hand page, I'm now lettering out a quote to myself, which is "Be your own best friend." And I'm going to letter that right on top of that watercolour background that I created earlier. To finish off my page, I'm going to add a few more of those lovely leaf transfer stickers around the quote. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this and perhaps got some lovely new ideas for things that you could create or write about in your own journal. If you do decide to give everything a go and you're on Instagram, I would love you to tag me in the photos there. I'm Journal with Purpose. I really enjoy seeing the pages you create and sharing them in my Instagram stories so that everybody else can see too. Well, I really hope that you're doing well and you're taking some time out for yourself to get creative and documenting in your journals. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you'd leave it with a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you'll consider subscribing. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's supporting me over on Patreon too. Thank you ever so much for watching. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in the next one.